start.
Okay,
Good.
thank you for pinging me, Nika. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. Katia and I go way back to the university years. We were roommates actually on my first year and her last year in the university. So Katia actually works at Google as in recruitment and staffing there. She lives in Ireland now, and she is trained coach and team development consultant, and she's also founder of her own mentorship program for underprivileged youth in Belarus. That's where Katia comes from. And Katia works with the human mind, and the mission of her coaching is to increase her clients' own self-understanding, come up with a plan, and commit to action. And today, Katia will be talking about discovering resilience within. On that note, thank you to Katia.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Nika. You've just saved me a slide on introduction. I would love to, and I hope everyone can hear me, guys. I'm watching chat closely, so if you're experiencing any problems, if you have any questions, my eyes are on it. So please stay as engaged as you feel comfortable. Also, I just want to thank everyone. I know it's the last session of a day, and it's a hard slot to have, but I'm very grateful that Nika invited me over. So let's get into it. So our last session of a day is going to involve a lot of self-reflection and a lot of you thinking, maybe sharing back with us, either in chat or unmuting yourself. We'll see how it goes. And without further ado, let me share my screen, Nika, and can I please ask you to be my feedback source and let me know if it works or if it doesn't. So now we should be on the first slide, and I hope you can see it says discover resilience within yourself. So actually, thank you. So let's just get into slides and go to the next one. Nika gave that wonderful introduction, so I'm just going to show you my picture and skip that, so we're not wasting time there. My name is Katia. Originally, I come from Belarus. For the last 15 years, I've been living and traveling outside of Belarus. The previous country of residence was New Zealand, so hello, or fellow Aussie. Close enough, I miss the region for sure. And now I'm based in Ireland. Okay, so my plan was to make sure that within the first 3 to 4 minutes of my presentation, we get into our first exercise, and we're well on track to do that. So today, within our 30 to 40 minutes, we hope to cover what is resilience, because the word is getting thrown around a lot, and I'm not sure that we always have a very clear understanding of what that is. Next, we're going to go and actually do a couple of self-reflection exercises that would help to discover the resilience within us, because guess what? We all have it. It's just sometimes we don't necessarily recognize that for resilience strength. And the last but not the least, we'll spend maybe a minute or two reflecting and putting some of what we covered into a mini action plan, because you know what they say, if there is no action at the end of the conversation, that was not a coaching conversation. Okay, so what is resilience? And here we are, our first exercise. May I please ask, and I'm sure everyone has some sort of a notion, an understanding, maybe an association, what does resilience mean for them? So may I please ask, spend 2-3 minutes and either write it on a piece of paper if you have in front of you, or maybe share that in chat. And I'll go and be quiet for the next minute just to provide this space, so I hope everyone is comfortable. Okay. 1 minute has passed, and I do invite people to continue doing that maybe for another minute, while I will start slowly calling out some of the things that's been shared in the chat and maybe giving a comment or two before we move into our next slide. So Nika, thank you for sharing. So the power to bounce back, the ability to bounce back. And we've had a long conversation with Nika about it, about the words used, because bounce back may seem sometimes as it's a fast process, and if it's an effortless process, which is not always true. Sometimes the ability to bounce back will take time, it will be slow, and it will take a lot of effort. And we never truly go to back as it was before. We rather bounce forward, and we discover our new self through some challenges and through circumstances. Daniela, thank you for sharing as well. So Daniela typed up, resilience equals staying the course regardless of circumstances. So that is true. So movement forward is probably a defining attribute of resilience, ability to recover quickly and grow to a new level. Fully heartedly, Sasha, I agree with growth to the new level. I do not necessarily agree with recover quickly. As mentioned before, different people will have different journeys, and the speed is not always the most important thing. Sometimes the recovery will take time, and it's okay too, because self-kindness and self-acceptance in that process is equally as important. Resilience means not giving up, having growth mindset, 100%. Resilience does mean having a growth mindset and embracing life with a learning outlook. Ability to overcome hardship or the unexpected, Tan Stevenson. We could have a debate around that one. I'm not going to go into that one. What does it mean, overcome? So yes, to be able to have a self-belief that whatever comes your way, you will find the way forward. You will adapt, you will flex, and you will continue on, hopefully learning from that experience. It is about the inner strength, quiet force within, correct, Jerry? The force to grow higher, Dina, thank you, yes. The ability to push through the adversities. Correct, Amorel, and I do apologize if I pronounce some names wrong, so please bear with me. So guys, thank you for sharing these. Resilience has many faces, and it will have that unique perspective for each of us. However, I would like to offer everyone, and I would like to draw your attention to the next slide, a definition, a working definition that I use a lot in my coaching and in my life, and something that I really feel powerful and strong about. So resilience is made of flexible thinking, and I highlighted word flexible more than anything else, behavioral and emotional responses that enable us to move forward towards our goals through hardships and pains and adversities and challenges, right? So two major attributes that I would love to sort of highlight is flexibility and movement forward. So, and also as the whole sort of backbone of today's workshop is the fact that resilience is ordinary. Everyone is capable of learning the resilience tools and technique. Everyone has their own resilient journey. So, however, before we go into sort of doing some sort of exercises and increasing our resilient outlook, let's focus for a second on this movement forward towards our goal. And the next exercise is actually, so let's define what is our goal. And everyone is going to have their own goal, obviously, but let me ask you that. So today is Sunday, it's a weekend. It's late for some of you, right? So it's not so late for me here in Ireland. For some reason, you are here today with me, 24 of you, which I'm very grateful for, learning about resilience. Why? Why do you need it now? Why did you decide that, today is the day to learn something about resilience? What are you trying to achieve, and what is your goal? So can we take maybe a minute or 2 minutes and either, again, write it down on a paper in front of you. And maybe if you feel great enough, maybe some of you can share in the chat as well. And I'll go on and be quiet for the next minute and just provide that space for a self-reflection. Okay, we've been quiet for a minute, and I hope people just taking the time they need to take to sort of reflect on that, and to articulate where are they moving? What do they want to see on the other end of this pandemic? If, let's say, pandemic, that's something worries you at the moment, how do you want to arrive on the other side of that? So for me, and I'll share something here as well, and I've realized that I'm a perfectionist. So overachiever, your regular corporate employee, I mean, with a lot to give, but also sort of racing. And that's what I've been doing for the past 15 years. And I've also realized that week 3 into quarantine and lockdown in Ireland, that I truly treat the quarantine as a class that I need to graduate with honors. And that's how I approach that whole experience. And it's definitely lacked some of the self-acceptance and some of the kindness. And I think I've identified that my own goal, so to say, or my own vision for this experience is to learn and to practice more self-kindness and more self-acceptance. And that's how I've started viewing this experience. That's how I started filtering the information and my own outlook through that lens. So some people shared, and if that's okay, I'll call out some of those examples because I think they're beautiful. So Nika shared, and thank you for your support, Nika, and for facilitating and contributing to the session as we go, is to learn to accept different situations in life without getting too emotionally wrapped up in them. To learn and to practice more self-acceptance and self-kindness, that's one for me. Somebody, Tan, seeks self-realization. Somebody seeks to learn new techniques and see new perspectives. Thank you, Ildiko. Somebody is looking to get their writing skills up to speed and write an article. That's great. I like the specific objectives, as you know. They tend to drive more specific action items. Thank you to those who shared, and thank you to the rest who took a minute to reflect on that. So now that we have our objective, and I love having that specific element to the session, as we go through the rest of the exercises, I would like to ask people to hold that objective in their mind. So to hold that goal top of mind, and to work within that experience. So let's continue. So the next slide, and I would like to draw everyone's attention to their screens. Sorry, I'm struggling with my two screens here. We are moving into the next phase. So we are actually going to do a couple of exercises and get down to it. So let's bring that resilience, resources, and strength that you already have, because I guarantee you have a lot, even if you don't necessarily agree with me right now. What happens in the time of adversity is that we may get overwhelmed, and that's a normal human reaction, but we also tend to really focus on the external events. Whereas most of the times those external events are completely outside of our control, and that energy is not very well invested. So what I suggest to do instead is actually, and I think what we've been doing through the sessions and through the whole 2 days is go on the internal, go and pay attention to your internal world more, and that's where we have more control, and that's where we have more ability to change and to influence things. So the first thing I would suggest for us to do is to engage in another exercise, and I told you that's going to be a very exercise heavy session today. It's actually focusing on your own top 5 inner strengths. And strength can be anything. I've given a few examples here. For example, high frustration tolerance, self-acceptance, self-belief, humor, curiosity, problem solving, spirituality. My network can be my resource. My family, my friends can also be a resource to me, and my strength, because I can build that network. So I would suggest everyone taking a minute and literally writing down top 5 attributes or top 5 strengths, top 5 qualities that you possess that you really pride yourself in. And I'm going to go and be quiet for a minute, and then those who feel comfortable, please share in the chat with the rest of us, and if you don't, just spend some time reflecting on that. All right, guys, so somebody else joined us, so hello, welcome. We're doing a self-reflexivity exercise. The instructions are on the slides, so please join any second. And thank you to those who are sharing in the chat. I appreciate the engagement. It always feels nice to see some sort of a feedback loop coming back. I'll be honest, as a facilitator, it is very hard not to have a live audience in front of you and maybe lose some of those cues. So providing that feedback through chat, you really help your facilitator to sort of feel like they're listened and feel visible as well. All right, so let's see what type of strengths we have. I've shared some so you can see them just to kick off the conversation. Empathy, community, diversified skill set, curiosity, creativity, wide interest. +1 to everything, super strength, superwoman. Nika, you're superwoman. You have so many superpowers. Ildiko, problem solving, adaptability, resourcefulness, positivity, courage, and curiosity. +1 to, again, right, such a super person, that with those strengths, I'm sure you can probably live through and go through so many experiences, and they will help you. There is adaptability, there is patience, there is finding meaning, there's leadership and hard working. Sasha shared a few as well. Their trust in lives, their family support, their creativity, their practicality, and their execution. Self-discipline, definitely, yes. Learning, creativity, more positive outlook, and contributing to the community. So guys, I would like everyone to sort of really look at, like, take a long and a hard look at those lists, right? And sometimes we tend to focus on the things that we don't have or things that we wish we had. And we completely tend to forget that we already have such an ocean of valuable experiences and the valuable qualities that already there, and they can help us. So my question to you that I would like you to take away from this exercise is, are you using those strengths to their full capacity? Are you leaning into your curiosity? Are you leaning into your creativity? Are you leaning into your family support? Are you making it easy for yourself to live through the current experiences? And are you utilizing all your tools that you already have? And the way I would love to challenge you on that is to actually grade yourself. So from 1 to 10, if 10 was 100%, I utilize all my strength, I use all my qualities, and I make it as easy as possible on myself to live through the current experience, give yourself a 10. And then 0 is, oh no, I completely forgot I have any of these, and I've completely ignored them, and no, I did not use any of them. Give yourself a 0. And whatever number this is, there is no bad number, right? So any number works. Just challenge yourself. What would it look like to take that number to the next level? Nika, I love the 60, by the way. So, I mean, the scale was 10 and 60, obviously. As I said, you are Superwoman. So, okay, so that's how I would like to challenge you. So what would it take for you to go from 6 to 7, from 8 to 9, from 1 to 2, from 3 to 4? Don't think like, how am I going to be at 10 right away? No, just take us one small baby step and take it to the next level, and that would probably lead to amazing changes eventually. Maybe not right away, but speed is not always the most important thing. So I would love us to go to the next exercise, which is similar to the previous in a way. Matan, thank you for sharing as well. All right, so 7 to 10, that's a really good score. Obviously, it's on the higher end of things. Maybe I would challenge you to look at the one that is at 7 and see, can you bring it to 8? What would that mean in the actual action terms? So the next exercise is, again, for your own reflection. And obviously, we cannot really fully engage into it in the next 2 minutes, but just take a minute and maybe remember 1 or 2 examples of the previous experiences, hard experiences, challenging experiences that you've successfully dealt with. And examples, again, they can be various, right? Like, don't think, you know, super dramatic, extraordinary events like you've been to war and you lost a limb. Like, yes, those things obviously challenge us, and they can make us stronger. They don't always make us stronger. But also think about ordinary things, like, you know, you have small kids and you work from home. Like, to me, this is like, you know what I mean? You display that resilience every day. Or you go for a run every day, even though it's not your favorite thing. Or in the past, you've worked 3 jobs and you put yourself through college. And or anything else. So let's just take a few seconds and maybe come up with 1, 2 examples from the past. All right. So, and again, right, so it's the same as, guys, if you feel comfortable sharing, please do share, but please don't force yourself to share if you don't feel comfortable sharing in the chat. Yeah, Martin, thanks for saying that. Coming out of relatively big debt, that's a big one, right? I'm sure it took a lot of planning. I'm sure it took some self-discipline. I'm sure it also took probably limiting yourself in some ways to make sure, you know, you sort of went for the big picture and for the bigger solution. So, Nika, moved to different countries without having anyone there. Literally, you threw yourself into the most of the unknown. New culture, new language, no network. And look at you, you are striving. You have people from around the world supporting you in your new initiative. You're launching projects, you're launching conferences. Like, you know what I mean? To me, like, this is amazing. This is resilience. You've already done it so many times, maybe in a different context, maybe in a different situation. So how can you learn from it? How can you lean into that previous experience? And sometimes it's not going to be like rocket science, you guys. Sometimes it's just going to be, oh, I can do it. Self-belief. And sometimes that's all we need. Sometimes we need that extra, you know, extra gram of a self-belief just to bring us to the next day when we feel better, when we have a better conversation and maybe a better day meets us. So people are sharing more to graduating from the programs, the people ran successful events, people lived through the sickness, right? Oh my, moved to Asia, Daniela, started a doctorate program. I'm jealous, that's my dream, but also I know how much hard work that is. Just living through the research proposal, okay? I mean, just the fact that you wrote that research proposal and you applied, that's already to me speaks a lot about your character and your strength within you, right? So I want everyone to, you know, spend some time thinking about it, patting yourself on the back, and just, you know what I mean, finding that learning, finding that, what can you transfer to your current situation? Is it a behavior? Is it an outlook? Is it an actual emotional state? Anything would do if it helps you to move forward with your current goal. And I hope we still have our goal in our minds. So what did you learn from your experiences in the past that would help you to keep moving forward? So that's my question to you. So no answers, just more questions that I leave you with to continue thinking. And let's move into the very last bit. So the action bit, right? So what we've done so far, we've sort of played with an idea of what resilience and its definition. We also looked into sort of an inventory check, right? So we try to identify our own strengths and what can we use more of. We looked at our previous experiences and learnings, and we sort of started thinking about how can we apply that going forward. So let's spend our very last minutes together doing exactly that. So I hope you can see the slide. And it's quite late for some of you. So maybe today is not a realistic timeline, but what will you do differently tomorrow based on what we've discussed? So based on that definition of resilience and based on your own strength and based on your own experiences that you've already had, what will you do differently tomorrow that will help you and enable you to keep going forward? And I'll be quiet for a second, and maybe some of you are brave enough to share that in the chat or just reflect on your own. All right, guys, I think we're just getting at a time, so I will slightly rush us, not much, but and maybe I'll share one thing that I started doing differently since I've started thinking about the resilience a bit more. I've actually stopped forcing myself to do every single fitness workout that I came across, because I never been into sports, and honestly right now for me it's not the most amazing time to start it, just because I don't have the mental capacity to embrace a new habit. However, I have sort of leaned into my old habit that I really loved, which is walking. So I've just increased the amount of walking 3 times, and that's what I enjoy, and that's how I structure my day. And also I sort of lost that guilt feeling that I should be doing more sports, because that's okay. I'm doing what I enjoy doing, and if it works for me, it works for me, even though it's probably not the most Instagrammable uh, workout, to be honest with you. Nika, yes. So how are you going to do that? I can realize and remember that everything is figure outable, which I love the word, by the way. And you've done it already. You have done it already. So what are you going to do? Are you going to journal? Are you going to share? Are you going to hug yourself? I need action, guys. I don't need words. I need action. So our mind waits. So what will be the action?
So is remember when I am stuck, for example, in a situation where I feel like, oh my God, like it's I'm too emotional about it. Can I just remember, like I've done it already, like I can do it. It's sort of like self-talk.
But we need an action, right? So remembering is not an action, okay? So our mind is weird and our brain is lazy, and it doesn't really value thoughts that much. So if you want to send your brain a really strong message, you need to support it with some sort of action, either journal about it, you know what I mean? And like reflect and write it down, or talk to somebody about it out loud, or draw something, or literally sit down and write, Nika, I've done it 5 times in that situation. And you know what I mean? So you would always need to really reinforce it with some sort of an action. Okay, so what else we have, guys. I know I can sound like a bit too pushy there, but I feel quite passionate about it, that action changes everything. Thinking without action, it's better, I guess, than not thinking about it, but the real change will only come from action. Tomorrow, I'm starting a morning challenge to win the morning. Meditation, yoga, journal. Yeah, Daniela, action, loving this. Journal, make a vision board. Ildiko, beautiful. I love it, right? So help to reinforce that message for our brain. And when we do put it on the vision board, it helps it. It makes it very powerful. Draw my feelings out. Nika, exactly, right? So when we talk about the emotions, right? So what are they? Can you even name them? You know what I mean? Just to say, I don't want to be emotional. Like, what does it mean? What type of emotion do you have? And like, what other emotions would you rather feel about it? So, you know, spending time analyzing and drawing it out would make a difference than just telling yourself, oh, don't be emotional. Well, you know, if that was that easy, coaches wouldn't have jobs, right? So, okay, guys, thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate the feedback. As I've said, it can be very hard just to sort of lecture into the void without hearing voices back, without seeing faces back. But I definitely felt like I was visible, I was listened to, and I just really enjoyed my time with you guys. And I appreciate you staying a few minutes over time with me. Thank you.
We're still not over time. We have 2 minutes actually. You finish at 10, so we can
take. Oh
wow!
Look at me.
So you're.
I would love to take questions. I would love to take questions. Tan, thank you, Tan. Guys, if anyone would like to challenge me, I love being challenged. So if anyone has a question, chat or unmute yourself now. Thank you, Claire. Thank you for being today with me. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. But you know, I feel it's important to also have a true north, because we could be quick
Yeah.
at setting actions and very specific, but then going the wrong way or backsliding.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Look, 100%, 100%. That's a very good point as well. But having true north without making a step in that direction also
Yeah,
sort of, you know what I mean? It's
absolutely.
not as powerful. So I agree with you. Sometimes we're making so many steps without knowing why we're making the steps.
Yeah.
So I
You know,
agree. I would.
and the other thing is just the where is your source of power? Where is the source of your love, for example? I spent some years doing missions work, which I've walked away from, and I find many people burning out. I said, if you're somebody who's passionate about something, good, but then people burn out because they were relying on their own batteries. They weren't plugged into the source. So that's where I realized that, yeah, it's, and that's why my
Self-reliance.
goal now is to seek self-realization, because relying on the source, your own source of love, your own source of strength is not enough to achieve greater things, because we
I
are
agree with you.
limited.
We are humans, right? So that's okay. And also to your point, I think a lot of people actually do tend to think, and I'm not saying that's you, just in general, that comes up, that resilience is about self-reliance, that you only have to rely on yourself. That is not true. Resilience is about being aware of resources, being aware where you want to be, and you know what I mean, being creative how you utilize those resources. So for example, if you feel like you need help and support from your family, your friends, professional, that's the help and that's the ingredient that you need to employ to keep moving forward. Ignoring that and just sort of saying, oh no, I am invincible, I must do it myself, that's not resilience. That's just being silly and not being kind to yourself. So thank you for sharing that. I don't know if that resonates or if that's actually relevant to what you've said, but that's what I've heard. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, we are on time, Nika.
Yeah,
thank you, guys.
Yeah, if anyone has any last questions for Katia, we can have one last one, or a statement or a comment, if someone wants to share. I can share as well that we Katia did a workshop as well on resilience, which was much longer, a couple of hours long, and definitely I was a part of it, and I think it was really good. At the timing as well, it was, I think, when I was going through like China's closing borders, my flights are being canceled, where am I going, what's happening, and I was like in a bit of a mess. So it was really nice, I think, especially the specific timing to kind of get clear, and how she shared that there is only like certain things we can control, so focus on them rather than focusing on things that are outside of our control. So that was definitely very useful, and as many other things. Katia, we will share Katia's contact details on WeChat as well. She is not a big WeChat user. It's better to contact her, be in touch with her on Facebook. She's in our Facebook group, as I remember, at least she will be in our Facebook group as well. So you can always contact her and ask more questions or just connect with her. So thank you again very much. Can you maybe turn on your camera so I can see you before we all go, so that it was nice to. Good. Okay. Thank you so much. It was really nice and good to see all of people here. Thanks for sticking with it. Thank you for wrapping up the conference as well. It was really nice, you know, a very good way to wrap it up. And Instagram. Okay. Yes. And you also have an Instagram. Very good. Awesome. All right. Well, I think we can finish here. Again, thank you, Katia. Thank you, everyone else, for being here, for sticking with us. Yes, it was lovely 2 days of awesomeness. Let's continue sharing in your own ways, giving back in your own ways, paying it forward in your own ways, and keep the energy flowing.